What's up, YouTube? In September, when I did my month of denim crafts, I mentioned that I was making a denim quilt. One of my comments suggested that I show you how I do denim quilts. So this month, I'm going to do a series of about 3 or 4 videos on how I sew together this brick wall blues quilt that I designed myself. This quilt happens to be 84 inches wide by 108 inches long. So that's about a queen size quilt. But the great thing about this is that the finished blocks end up being 6 by 12 inches. So just by taking out a couple rows or a couple blocks, you could easily adjust the size to any size that you want to fit your bed. So in this particular size, I ended up using 18 7-inch by 7-inch squares and 117 7-inch by 13-inch rectangles. And like I said, I'm going to be using a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so these finished blocks end up being 6 inches by 12 inches. I used men's jeans, and I averaged about 8 rectangles per pair of jeans. Now, to give you a little wiggle room and a little more variety, I ended up using about 20 pairs of jeans. Now, sometimes people send me fabric, which I really enjoy. To me, opening up a box of scrap fabric is just like Christmas. And recently, I was giving this cute space print that happens to be corduroy, and also this green corduroy. Now, these I like to use as accent rectangles. For this quilt, I think I'm going to use this space fabric as my accent pieces, and I like to cut odd numbers of rectangles. So for instance, 3, 5, or 7. And to me, that's more pleasing to the eye, and I'll show you all that when we lay this out. Other great accent fabrics that I like to use are things like this purple denim, khaki pants, white pants, or anything like that. So now all you need to do is go through your closet, get all those jeans that you know you're not going to fit into anymore, but you still for some reason keep saving, and cut them up. If you don't have totes and totes full of jeans like I have here, just go ask your friends and family if they have any that you could have. Another great resource is your Goodwill. They always have a 99-cent color day, so you could pick up 20 jeans for $20. Or even now, in my local Goodwills here around the Omaha area, they now have 49-cent days, so you can't beat that. So, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is gather up all your jeans. I like to grab jeans in every color shade that I can find. That just gives it more variety on our quilt and makes it look more like a brick wall. Now, I don't shy away from dirty jeans. You can see these ones have paint stains, oil stains, grass stains, bleach stains. I definitely like to use all that and put that in the quilt just to give it some extra dimension. And also holes. Now you can see this one, it doesn't necessarily go all the way through, it's just a little frayed. I like to keep those in. But if you have something like this, where it's a larger hole, what you want to do is just take another piece of denim. You could use a scrap from the same piece of jeans, and you're going to stick it underneath, and we're going to sew around. But keep all that frayed stuff. That just gives it character. So next, what I like to do is just cut off the legs. You definitely do not want to use your good fabric scissors for this because it'll dull them down pretty quickly. I also like to leave about 1 inch of denim down here at the bottom of the pocket because you can certainly reuse this to make these awesome pocket hot pads that I have a video on in my sewing playlist. These make great housewarming gifts, or like for this year, I'm going to use them as Christmas gifts. Next, you just want to cut off this bottom cuff. Next, we're going to cut up both sides of the seams on both sides of our pant leg. Now you don't have to be very careful with this. At first, I kind of wanted as much fabric as possible, so I carefully cut around all these seams. By the 6th pair of jeans, I didn't care anymore. And don't throw your seams away either. You could use them to make these awesome trivets that are great for hot pots and pans that I also have a video on about these in my crafting playlist. So now you can see that we have 2 pieces of usable denim, and that was just from one leg. Now if you have any wrinkles or creases like I do here, definitely take them over to the ironing board. And if you have holes here like I do and you want to patch them up, now is the time to do so. Now I like to take a day and just break down all of my jeans. That way I can just get right on to cutting. But for these video purposes, I'm just going to do this one piece right now. The next thing I like to do to make your life a lot easier is go ahead and make yourself some cardboard templates. This one, as you can see, is 7 inches by 13 inches. And this one is 7 inches by 7 inches. Now, like I said before, we're going to need 18 7-inch by 7-inch pieces and 117 7 inches by 13 inches. I like to cut all the 7 by 13 inch pieces first, and then go back through all the scraps to get my 7 by 7 inch pieces. Alright, now that I have my piece of denim all nice and ironed, we're going to just cut this out. So what I like to do is just fold it in half. That way I can get 2 pieces at once. Now I wouldn't do more than 2 layers of denim at a time because the fabric starts to shift and you're not going to get an accurate cut. Now just with my rotary cutter, you just want to cut it out. You definitely want a brand new rotary cutter blade when you do this, and it will be dull by the time you're done with it. I've made 2 of these quilts previously, and I used a dull blade, and I destroyed my cutting mat. I cut right through it, trying to get through all the pieces. So you definitely want a brand new, sharp blade. Now just go around and cut it out. And as you can see, I'm totally not following my directions, and this is a pretty dull blade. And now we have 2 of the 117 pieces that we need done. Now after a lot of cutting, you're probably going to nick into your cardboard template here and make the shape a little wonky. As you can see on this one, it's not even square at all anymore. When it gets really wonky like this, just go ahead and throw this away or keep it for another project and make yourself a new template. Now you just want to continue doing that until all your pieces are done. When you've cut out all your pieces, you should have a big stack like this. Here's my 7 by 7 inch pieces, and here is the 7 by 13 inch pieces. Now you can see I have all colors of denim in here. Blues, light blues, blacks, grays. I think the more color, the more interesting the quilt will look. Now it's time for a little story. The quilt in the thumbnail is one I made for my twin brother a few years ago. We'll call him Dumb, and his wife, Dumber. Now Dumb and Dumber are very unappreciative people, and they don't take care of any of their things. They definitely didn't care about how much time and effort that I took to make that quilt for them. One 4th of July, about 2, 3, maybe even 4 years ago now, Dumb and Dumber took their denim quilt to a 4th of July fireworks show. And left it there. If you can believe that. When Dumb told me, his explanation was it was one of those things that they went with a bunch of people and they thought they picked it up and the other people thought they picked it up. I ain't buying it. If you happen to live around the Ames, Iowa area and you happen to pick up this quilt, keep it, love it, cherish it, because the Dumbs didn't. Anyhoodles. In the next video, I'll show you how I laid these out and how we're going to sew this together. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button down below. If you have any questions about this video or any of my other videos, or would like to leave a suggestion for a future video, leave me a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.